Welcome back. This is Gender Discourse, and today we are talking about marriages and divorce. Well, friends, our lines are opened and you too can be a part of this discussion. All you'll have to do is reach us at 1800115314 or 23035420. Well, before we went into the break, we did have a girl with us, Swagatika, though I really couldn't really interpret much what she said, but going by the subject, maybe Geeta, you can just throw some light on that. Was she really talking about an infidelity incident that has happened in her life?
I think what it seemed to me was it was an infidelity incident in a case where she is in a marriage.
She is still on line. Let's try and talk to her. Yes. Swagatika, आप हैं अभी लाइन पर?
हाँ, लाइन में हूँ मैं।
हाँ, बताइए क्या आगे बताइए आप।
अच्छा मैडम, मैं थोड़ा नर्वस हो रही हूँ, मैं बोल रही हूँ।
जी बोलिए।
तो मैडम मैं अभी मुझे 24 साल है, ठीक है। तो मतलब मैं जब ग्रेजुएशन कर रही थी, +3 सेकेंड ईयर मतलब ग्रेजुएशन कर रही थी, तभी मतलब मुझसे एक भूल हो गया कि मुझे जिससे प्यार हुआ वो पहले से मैरिड थे, ठीक है। फिर तभी तो मैं मैच्योर उतना नहीं थी, मैच्योर अभी
जी
मैच्योर नहीं थी। अभी जब मैच्योर हुई तो सोचू कि जो की थी मैं पहले 4 साल पहले वो पूरा गलत था। तो मैं मतलब तभी तो हम दोनों मेरे हस्बैंड तो वो पहले मैरिड थे, वो शादीशुदा थे पहले। हाँ, तो हम दोनों में ऐसे लव हुआ, तो फिर हम लोग दोनों मतलब घर में तो कोई नहीं थे, राजी नहीं थे, तो फिर दोनों ने शादी की। तो घर में बहुत डिस्टर्बेंस थे, घर में मेरे मम्मी पापा, उनके मम्मी पापा, तो और उनका भी पहले वाइफ है उनका, तो मैं उनकी सेकंड वाइफ हूँ।
ओके
तो हम दोनों में तो तभी तो ठीक ठाक था, पहले नया नया तो बोलते जैसे कि प्यार अंधा होता, नया नया तो सब ठीक था, लेकिन अभी आज मतलब वो उनके घर जा रहे हैं, फिर अभी मुझे बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो रही है। तो तो मेरे हस्बैंड बोलते हैं कि वो उनके फर्स्ट वाइफ के साथ वैसा मतलब कुछ रिलेशन नहीं है, वो सिर्फ जाते हैं तो वो सिर्फ मतलब फर्ज के लिए वो जाते हैं घर। उनके माँ बाप भी है, मतलब मैं अलग रहती हूँ, उनके माँ बाप और उनके फर्स्ट वाइफ वो रहते हैं अलग और मैं अलग रहती हूँ। तो मेरे हस्बैंड मतलब यहाँ पे मेरे पास 4 दिन रहते, तो उनके घर में 1 दिन रहते। हाँ, तो मेरे हस्बैंड का कहना है कि वो सिर्फ जाते हैं उनके घर उनके माँ बाप के लिए।
ओके स्वगातिका, ठीक है, हम समझ गए आप जो कहना चाह रही हैं। अब मैं लॉयर से बोलूंगी कि वो आपको कुछ बात कर सकेगा।
देखिए, तो अगर उन्होंने अपनी पहली पत्नी से तलाक नहीं लिया तो वैसे तुम्हारी शादी तो गैर कानूनी है, तो उसके बारे में आप लोगों ने कुछ सोचा है या कुछ सुधार किया है? सबसे पहले तो ये इम्पोर्टेंट बात है कि कल को वो लेडी भी कुछ क्रिमिनल एक्शन ले सकती है और ये बिगमस मैरिज होती है, तो हाँ बिल्कुल गलती है और इस गलती का नतीजा बुरा भी हो सकता है। और अब या तो वो अपनी पहली वाइफ से तलाक ले और आपका पूरा रेगुलराइज हो और ठीक ठाक हो, तो ये बहुत ज़रूरी होगा आपके लिए। ये आप ही को देखना पड़ेगा और उनसे बात करनी पड़ेगी, क्योंकि आप लोगों ने दोनों ने सोच समझ के ये गलती की है।
Right. All right. Now, coming back to Amrita, we were talking about infidelity and how now this is somewhere down the line on the rise. But also, one has seen that sometimes when even people are in quite a happy marriage, or at least it looks happy, even then you will find that one of the partners is inclined somewhere else. So do you think that is just out of boredom or out of because the technology has really ventured into our lives so much that now probably it is easy for people to kind of explore their options?
Absolutely. In fact, yes, most of the time it does start out of boredom, sheer boredom. You're looking for some excitement, you're looking for some romance.
Right.
And then again, I would revert to my earlier point that the very fact that you're going after something out of boredom, out of looking for some excitement, is means that is missing in your present relationship. Correct. Which is why you're kind of looking for those things. And with technology, everything has become very accessible, and you can kind of connect with people in the privacy of your room of your, you know, house.
Right.
And there is no accountability, which earlier was quite a major, I would say, you know, that is something which acted as a kind of roadblock. But now, in absence of that, a lot of freedom, a lot of independence, and that gives you a lot of avenue to explore, experiment, and which is why I think the incidence of infidelity is on the rise a lot.
Right. Dr. Manju, what would you want to say here?
I am remembering there was some time back a movie also on this issue where with a Facebook a girl gets connected and the husband thinks that she is into a relationship. So and currently even the cases that we are handling, in that also, like technology related Facebook and, you know, WhatsApp and all those things are also, because you are tracking with whom your wife is talking or with whom your husband is talking. So you have every minute account about things. You also want your own privacy, where you don't want your things to be shared by your husband.
Correct.
At the same time, you want to monitor the other person. So all those things are also on rise, and which are one of the major cause of dissatisfaction among in the marriage.
Right. Well, we are joined by Dr. Nanda Shekhawat from Rajasthan. So, Dr. Nanda, if you can hear me, welcome to the show.
Yes, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Please go ahead.
हाँ मैडम, एक्चुअली मैं राजस्थान जयपुर से हूँ और मैं कॉलेज में प्रिंसिपल हूँ
जी।
इससे पहले मैं गवर्नमेंट कॉलेज में लेक्चरर थी। मेरे हस्बैंड के क्रिमिनल टाइप के हैं। हमारी मैरिज जो है 1993 के अंदर हुई थी और प्रपोजल भी इन्हीं लोगों की तरफ से 2-3 बार आया था और इसके फादर और ये दोनों ही क्रिमिनल टाइप के थे। मैरिज होने के बाद में क्या हुआ कि इन्होंने 2002-03 के अंदर जैसे ही मैं चाय वगैरह पीती थी, अकेले में ही चाय पीती थी, बच्चे छोटे थे, तो वो मेरे चाय के डिब्बे में कुछ ड्रग्स डाल के रख देते थे। तो मैंने क्या है कि टीआरएस लिया था, यूजीसी से टीआरएस मिलता है, तो उसके अंदर मैं पीएचडी कर रही थी, तो 3 इयर्स का मेरे को लीव मिला था, स्टडी लीव। तो मैं घर में रहती थी, तो वो ड्रग्स मिला देते थे, तो वो इसी तरह से मैं बैठी रहती मॉर्निंग टू इवनिंग। मेरे फादर आए, बोले ये क्या हो रहा है सब कुछ। और मेरे छोटा बच्चा था उस समय 2004 के अंदर, उसके 5 में वो बॉर्न हुआ था बच्चा
जी। और
उसके बाद में जब पता लगा कि ड्रग्स मिला रहे हैं, पकड़े गए हैं, तो डबल स्टोरी हाउस है और 9,200 मेरा देते इंस्टॉलमेंट जा रहा था, लोन उठाया था।
आप थोड़ा जल्दी से बताइए प्लीज।
हाँ मैडम, दोनों का लोन जा रहा था। तो इन्होंने बाद में हमने पूछा, ऊपर नीचे हो गई कि भाई ये क्यों कर रहे हैं। तो पता लगा इन्होंने एक कीप रख रखी है, उससे भी 3 बेटे पैदा कर लिए, राजपूत हैं। तो इनको बोलते हैं कि हमारे तो जो इसके।
तो अब आप अपना प्रेजेंट, आप मुझे अपना प्रेजेंट स्टेटस बताइए प्लीज डॉक्टर नंदा।
हाँ जी,
आप अपना प्रेजेंट स्टेटस बताइए मुझे, अब ये क्या है और आप क्या जानना चाह रही हैं?
पीजी कॉलेज के अंदर प्रिंसिपल हूँ
जी। तो अब आप जानना क्या चाह रही हैं, आप ये बताइए।
जानना ये चाह रही हूँ कि इसने अपनी बीबी को, जो सेकंड वाइफ है, 3 बच्चे पैदा कर रखे हैं, उनको छुपा रखा है, और मतलब क्या लीगल एक्शन हो सकता है। वो गवर्नमेंट जॉब के अंदर है, फिर इतना क्रिमिनल टाइप ऑफ एक्टिविटी करते हैं।
जी, मुझे अब समझ आ गई आपकी पूरी कहानी। लेट्स सी गीता, व्हाट कैन यू टेल?
So obviously if he has got married again, he is obviously, as I said to the previous person who was asking question, it's bigamous. It is an invalid marriage, because the first thing that you do is you have to have a monogamy, and anybody who enters into a bigamous marriage, the marriage is void. That's one. Second, he is liable under 494. If he's in a government job, he would obviously lose his job. In addition to the fact that it's a criminal offense, it's also barred under service rules of government, where you have to make a declaration that I have no other, and it would be considered moral turpitude as well as an illegality. So he would lose his job. Now the question is that she has to have this evidence that he has gone in for a marriage and that she is not a mistress. If she's just a mistress, then you can't really make a adultery case of 494.
Right.
Then what she will, however, because he's in government service, still file under the government rules that it's moral turpitude. So that she could possibly do. And of course, civil law may not require such a strict proof, but still she will have to prove that there's a marriage. It's anyway cruelty to her.
True.
If he is having another woman and he's not giving her the time, attention, etc. Plus about drugs, I think it seems too long ago. I think she won't be able to prove anything on the drug aspect unless there is something
yes, some evidence
for the cruelty angle.
Yes.
But she can say that they treated her with cruelty and so on. So one of the aspects she'll have to see is if he is children from the other lady, then the birth certificates of those children, because they will reflect 90%, they will reflect some name of father.
Yes.
Now, who is the putative father whom she is alleging? So these are some aspects she can look at.
Right, right. So Dr. Nanda, I think पहला काम आपको करना होगा, एक अच्छा सा लॉयर हायर करना होगा, क्योंकि जैसा गीता जी ने बताया है कि आप ये सारे अगर लॉयर होंगे आपके साथ तो वो इन सारी चीज़ों को अच्छे से देख पाएंगे और फिर आप अपना केस दायर कर सकेंगे. And now we are joined by Mr. C.M. Jetli from Mumbai. So Mr. Jetli, welcome to the show.
हाँ नमस्कार
जी.
एक मेरी रिलेटिव लड़की है, तो उसके क्या कि स्कूल में टेम्परेरी टीचर थी और जो परमानेंट टीचर था उसने उससे ना लॉ करके और बताया कि वो शादी नहीं हुई उसकी, अभी तक वो अनमैरिड है, और उससे अपना नाम चेंज करके, लड़की का नाम चेंज करके शादी की. उसने बोल दिया कि उसके माँ बाप एडमिट है, हॉस्पिटल में नहीं आ सकते. लड़के की तरफ से कोई नहीं आया, लेकिन लड़की की तरफ से पूरी फैमिली आई थी, उनके फोटो सब कुछ है. और बाद में पता चला कि ऑलरेडी उसकी एक दूसरी वाइफ है, पहले से उसका बच्चा है जो उसके माँ बाप के साथ वहां रहता है, और ये लड़की को दूसरे फ्लैट में रख के यहाँ पे उसका बच्चा हो गया है. और उस शादी में उस स्कूल में जो टीचर कुछ थे, प्रिंसिपल थे, उन लोग आए थे. तो इसके बारे में क्या कर सकते हैं? जो बच्चा हो गया इसको, अभी उसका क्या अधिकार इसकी प्रॉपर्टी में, और जो लड़की डाइवर्स लेती है तो उसको क्या मिलेगा इसमें? धन्यवाद.
Okay, thank you so much. So Geeta, again the question is for you.
So मैंने जैसे सबसे पहले लेडी के राइट्स की बात करें तो लेडी के राइट्स तो वही होंगे, वो क्रूअल्टी का पिटिशन डाल सकेगी. वो सेकंड वाइफ है तो उनका कोई हक नहीं बनता, क्योंकि फर्स्ट वाइफ लीगल वाइफ होती है, सेकंड वाइफ लीगल नहीं होती है. इसने इनको धोखा करके शादी की है तो इस लेडी को मेंटेनेंस का हक मिलेगा. पहले सुप्रीम कोर्ट की और हाई कोर्ट की जजमेंट्स ये थी कि अगर तुम सेकंड वाइफ हो तो क्योंकि शादी इलीगल है इसलिए आपको खर्चा भी नहीं मिलेगा. पर अब कानून में परिवर्तन आ गया है कि अगर तुम्हारी गलती की वजह से नहीं पर दूसरे आदमी की गलती की वजह से तुम्हारी ये दूसरी शादी हुई है और तुमको तुम्हारे साथ धोखा हुआ है तो ये धोखे का केस तो बनेगा. क्रिमिनल धोखा 420 नहीं बनेगा, पर वैसे धोखे का केस है. तो इसमें सबसे इम्पोर्टेंट बात ये होगी कि वो खर्चा उनको मिलेगा. अब जहाँ बच्चे के हक हैं वो एक सुप्रीम कोर्ट की जजमेंट है कि बच्चे को हक मिलेंगे, एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी में नहीं, इनकी सेल्फ एक्वायर्ड प्रॉपर्टी में सारे हक मिलेंगे. और एक सवाल उठा है सुप्रीम कोर्ट में जो अभी भी पूरा तय नहीं हुआ कि क्या एंसेस्ट्रल प्रॉपर्टी में भी हक मिलने चाहिए. तो ये सवाल अभी तक तो उनके हक में नहीं है, पर सेल्फ एक्वायर्ड प्रॉपर्टी में हक हैं. और अब लिव इन रिलेशनशिप का भी एक कानून डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस एक्ट में आ गया है, पर उसमें भी कोर्ट ने ये कहा है कि ये शादी वैलिड लीगल शादी होनी चाहिए अगर शादी है, और अगर लिव इन है तो शादी जैसी होनी चाहिए. मतलब कि दोनों स्पिंस्टर और बैचलर हो या दोनों की अनमैरिड हो स्टेटस, तभी उनको डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस एक्ट का भी फायदा मिल सकता है.
Right. Now, coming to Dr. Manju, talking about the present scenario of divorce, don't you think that many times couples are really not even willing to try it out, and even as the first option they would just consider is divorce? Is that what you're finding in your clinics too?
Yeah, sure. Because number one, people have become very impulsive. And second thing is that they think they don't have any patience to go through changes, and they are very rigid in their thinking that no, I don't think that this person can change or this marriage can work. So they start with a negative attitude, and they think that it is not going to work. And in that they become very
very
rigid
and adamant. Yes.
So in those cases, it is coming out where though the court is trying to have mediation, they are giving them opportunities to work it out. And family, when also gets into the scenario, they also want that something should materialize and they should give time to change and things like that. But the couple themselves, they often feel that they are not prepared for the
Right. Well, as it's time for us to slip into yet another break, so we'll do so, but you stay put as we'll see you on the other side right in a moment. Welcome back. This is Gender Discourse, and today we are talking about marriages and divorce. Well, folks, if you are watching and if you have a question or a point of view regarding the subject that we are talking about today, please pick up your phone and reach us immediately at 1800115314 or 23035420. Now, coming to you, Amrita, the same question as to, in your opinion, what do you think? Are couples really ready to work on their marriages at all, or at the first breach, they just look for the first option, which is the divorce?
Unfortunately, this is what it's turning out to be these days. Nobody's willing, the couples are not willing to work on the relationship. Instead of divorce turning out to be the last option, it's turning out to be the very first option, which is really sad, because every relationship, and especially marriage, requires a lot of effort, a lot of time, and people are not willing to put that into it. As it is, they do not get much time to spend with each other. There are lots of complaints, resentment, and they are constantly feeling cheated, that they are not what they'd expected is not really coming through. So that sense of being cheated and betrayed actually comes through. But my personal opinion is that everything requires effort, and I think what Dr. Manju had earlier said, communication is very important, and especially today, because as it is, you do not get much opportunity to connect, and if you do not communicate well, then there is just nothing to hold you two together. And when you communicate, you can actually come to realize, what the other person is feeling, going through, what is missing, what they can work towards. And then if they realize, if they've exhausted all the options and then they go for divorce, then I feel that, in that respect, we are fortunate to be in a generation and at a time where divorce is a choice now.
Right.
And you can go for it. There is no taboo attached to it.
There's no taboo, there's no stigma.
There is no stigma
nothing.
attached to it. So that in that way, it's a good thing. But just because there is nothing to kind of hold you two together doesn't mean that you can just drop it at the very first instance. You really need to kind of exhaust all the options before going for that particular measure.
Right. Well, we have another viewer. This is Sagar from Hyderabad. So, Sagar, can you hear me, please?
Yeah, ma'am, I'm hearing you.
Yeah, please go ahead.
मैम, मैं एक पूछना चाह रहा था, जैसे कभी कभार घर में लड़ाई हो जाती है वाइफ के साथ
जी,
तो कभी कभार वो गुस्से में कह देती है कि जैसे डिवोर्स दे देंगे, या फिर थ्रेटनिंग कॉल्स आ जाती हैं, तो बोल देती है आई विल आस्क फॉर मेंटेनेंस, मैं ये कर दूंगी, डिवोर्स दे दूंगी, आई विल गिव यू लाइक मिसयूज ऑफ डाउरी एंड डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस। तो बहुत बार गुस्से में आके शी गेट्स हाइपर।
ओके,
तो आई डोंट नो व्हाट शुड आई डू मींस।
आप किसी मैरिज काउंसलर के पास गए हैं अभी तक?
नहीं, अभी तक तो नहीं गए हैं, पर मुझे लग रहा है एक्चुअली 4-5 साल हो चुके हैं शादी को।
तो आपको लगता नहीं कि आपको एक काउंसलर के पास पहले जाना चाहिए?
जाना तो चाहिए।
चलिए, एक काउंसलर हमारे पास हैं, देखते हैं वो क्या कहती हैं।
No, I think आपने बिल्कुल ठीक एडवाइस दी है, because sometimes women these days, as we are talking about, women are more manipulative and they want everything to be done, and it is again becoming a very common scenario. So we cannot take this lightly also. At the same time, he should try to analyze the situation. Is it realistic demands or it is unrealistic demand? And sometimes it could be, certain personality traits in the person also, that they are manipulative. So they definitely need to go to a counselor to know the exact personality of the person, to know exact expectations and how it can be worked out. And he should also, because from his voice I could make out he's also very anxious and he looks very much disturbed about that.
He sounds disturbed.
He needs to do his own anxiety management and more of problem solving into that.
Correct.
Because if he becomes too for like submissive, then the other person can become even more powerful. So I think he should try and change some of his approach also to see that he also is little assertive in the relationship.
That's right. So I do hope सागर कि आपको आपके सवाल का जवाब मिला होगा. मैरिज काउंसलर्स या अदरवाइज काउंसलर्स इन्हीं सब चीज़ों के लिए हैं और इनके पास जाना कोई स्टिग्मा जैसी चीज़ नहीं है. फॉर ऑल यू नो, शायद आप लोगों को सिर्फ किसी से बात करने की देर है और शायद सब ठीक हो जाएगा. Amrita, now, you know, talking about marriage counseling and stuff like that, I mean, how many people really, because as we just saw also, people can see that there is a problem, there is something that is going wrong, but they just keep trying out their own measures and means, you know, that okay, we'll come out of it, and how, and if they don't, then they'll just simply go for a divorce without really giving each other a chance. So do you think that these are things probably, there probably has to be a code of conduct even in a marriage, because in India we are only focusing on the D-Day. The big fat Indian wedding is the only thing that is being advertised, the only thing that is being demanded by the girls and the boys, but there is no premarital counseling. There is no talk between the couple that how are you going to conduct a marriage of yours, because every relationship we all know has to be worked at, more so a marriage. What's your opinion?
I think you're absolutely right, and premarital counseling is now coming up. I've seen lots of couples go for it, which is I think a step in the right direction, because you know, I would say it also shows a certain, it reflects a certain kind of responsibility in your approach towards marriage. You know, you are getting married and you go for premarital counseling because you're willing to work towards it, you're willing to make it a success. So you go for that counseling, and even once you're married and you start facing problems, because you obviously cannot preempt that.
Absolutely.
But once you start facing problems, unexpected ones, it's almost like you know, going to a doctor when you're not feeling well.
Correct.
You know that there's a problem and you know that you need outside help. There are times when the couples are so involved in the problem that they cannot see things clearly, which is very natural. So at that time, it really helps to go to a person, a marriage counselor, you know, a kind of a person who can give you that objectivity.
Correct.
Can give you that kind of help, where you can see things clearly, where you can understand, and for all you know, you might come out of it realizing that okay, this will not work. Then you know that, you know, you've done your best, but it won't work. Then you have a choice, and you just go out and, you know, drop everything and move on.
And also, it might just work.
Absolutely,
yes,
yeah.
That's right. Well, so this is the last caller of the day. We have Kamaljeet Singh from Punjab. So, Kamaljeet Singh ji, what's your question?
हेलो, नमस्कार जी.
जी नमस्कार, बताइए.
मैडम ऐसे है, मैंने ना अपने बेटे की शादी 11/2/12 में की थी
जी.
उसके बाद जो लड़की है ना, उसने ये कहकर जो है ना, जो चूड़ा होता है उतार दिया 26/2/12 को, यू आर नॉट सुटेबल मैच फॉर मी.
ओके.
तो उसके बाद जो है लड़का मेरा बहुत परेशान हो गया. लेकिन उसके बाद जो 14/4/12 को वो जो लड़की है ना, उसके पेरेंट्स आकर घर से ले गए. तो उसके बाद हमने लगातार कोशिश की, मतलब मैं गवर्नमेंट सर्विस करता हूँ
जी, और
मेरे अपने कलीग के राही और उस सके संबंधी जो है हमारे जो जहाँ पंचायत वाले हैं, सभी के माध्यम से हमने कोशिश की लड़की को वापस लाने की. लेकिन इसके बाद फिर भी नहीं मतलब माने, तो मैंने डीएसपी साहब टांडा को एक एप्लीकेशन दी के उनको समझाने के लिए.
तो अब आपका सवाल क्या है? आप थोड़ा
दाज दहेज का जो है ना बात की कि हमें दाज मांग रहे हैं, तो लेकिन उधर प्रूव नहीं कर सके. फिर मैंने खुद उनको जो सामान जो लेकर दिया था, और एक कमरा भी बहुत अच्छा दिया, क्योंकि मेरा एक ही बेटा है जी.
नहीं, आप मुझे बताइए, आप जानना क्या चाह रहे हैं?
हाँ, अब उसने ये क्या किया है कि कोर्ट में जो डॉरी का और डोमेस्टिक वायलेंस का केस 1.5 साल बाद डाल दिया, और वो 14/4/12 से ही अपने पेरेंट्स के पास रह रही है. तो अब मुझे क्या करना चाहिए?
Okay, thank you for that question. Very quickly, since we are now running short of time, Geeta, very quickly.
So, one thing that unlike other criminal cases, dowry cases filed belatedly, the courts don't seem to give much attention. I think, in fact, they should. I mean, if you can file, say, any other case, whether it's cheating or anything, or murder or any other criminal offense, the delay goes against the genuineness of your case. I think in matrimonial offences also delay should play a part, particularly where we are seeing this incidence of rise of alleged rape cases, non-genuine, non-genuine, whatever. So delay should actually, unless well explained, this is one thing. But he has now, there's a new judgment of the Supreme Court in Adnesh Kumar, where Supreme Court has said that there has to be, because there are too many, so one move was to make it bailable for 98 days, so that these dowry cases will lose some of a lot of their sting. But that hasn't happened at the moment, even though Law Commission has mooted it. The second thing is that the Supreme Court recent judgment in Adnesh Kumar came about a month ago, I guess, in which Supreme Court has said that if there are cases of less than 7 years punishment, then there should be written reasons recorded why you need to arrest if the person's joining investigation.
Right.
So,
I really wish we could even take this further, but we are now really just short of our own time. So thank you so much, all three of you, for coming today and for talking about this issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, friends, every marriage worth its salt will face peaks and plateaus. If the buffers are not strong, the marriage might even break for reasons that may not really be that serious. Divorce may not always be the right answer to the problem. Counselors can help you to assess exactly that, and if divorce is inevitable, your counselor can definitely help you to make the divorce process more amicable. Couples may think that ending their marriage in divorce is the best option for them for many reasons, such as infidelity, unresolved arguments, long drawn-out fighting, unresolved conflict, or lost love. Yet, divorce is usually the last resort for an unhappy couple, and one which can have an enduring impact on many aspects of your life, including your financial and living situations, your children, if you have any, your extended family, and also your confidence in relationships. There can be no single way to make a marriage successful, but there are ways of making your marriage work. A sincere effort by both the partners is the only thing that will yield results. On that note, it's a wrap. Catch me next week for another engaging debate on another gender issue. Till then, this is Lottie Alaric saying goodbye and take very good care of yourselves.